Welcome to Magic and Mystics. We are starting with very bare bones, basic witch tools, tips, things of that nature. Today we are working on tools. I'm going to start with basically the universal things. Basically, rosemary can replace any herb. A white candle can replace any other color candle. Think back in the day before they actually started coloring candles, and it could be done fairly cheaply because back in the day, dye was expensive. Back then, witches typically only used white candles, white or yellowish candles, because it was straight beeswax. It was whatever wax they can get their hands on, they made it out of. So, no one say a white candle is not for protection. It can be. Very well can be. A clear quartz can replace any crystal. And a roses can replace any flower. Me personally, I'm a little more picky when it comes to my crystals and my flowers. But it can be done. When it comes to regular tools, first we are working out of this book, Wicca: A Guide for the Solitary Practitioner. This is where I'm pulling everything from today, except for the universal tools, because that I pulled off Pinterest forever ago. The broom is for cleansing. It is meant for physical and spiritual cleansing, and for astral and spiritual buildup. It's a purifier. Its element is water. And a round broom is typically the best one to use. And no, unfortunately, we cannot fly on them. I wish we could. I think we all wish we could. Because flying would be cheaper than gas. But the tool of the broom is based in the pre-Columbian Mexico, is where a lot of it was first uncovered when people were doing digs. The Chinese also did it. But European witches use the broom. The broom is universal. It really is. It has just been misinterpreted over the years. Some Wiccans claim brooms were ridden while hopping along the ground, much as a hobby horse. You know, the little wooden stick horses. To promote fertility of their fields. Then, too, it is believed that tales of witches riding brooms through the air were unsophisticated, and it was used as explanations for astral projection. I like the little tiny tidbits of interesting information, but it's fun to know where the stereotype came from and what it actually was doing. Next we're going to talk about the wand. Wands are meant for casting circles, directing energy, drawing symbols. Elementally, it is air. Sometimes you'll hear that it's fire. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Because you're not... I don't know how to put it. But anyways, wands are air. And it can be made of pretty much any wood. Traditionally, it was made of willow, elder, oak, apple, peach, hazel, cherry trees, and so on and so forth. Basically, witches would get a branch, make a wand out of it, call it a day. I make them myself. I'm hoping to sell them one day. It's a fun hobby to have. Next is your censer, which is an incense burner. For me, this is a necessity. You do not need every tool that I am listing. You don't. All you actually need is yourself. And most of the tools that I'm listing, the more important of the tools, you can get from Dollar Tree. Very cheaply. Your censer, your incense burner. There are 3 different variations of incense burner that I can think of off the top of my head. You have your stick burner, your cone burner, which there are 2 types of cone burners. There's a regular cone burner, and then there's the one where it trickles the smoke down and it comes out of some sort of a hole and makes a fun effect. What is it? A reverse incense burner? Basically, the cones will have a hole in the bottom. But anyways, their element is air, of course. And there's also the smudge pot. At least that's what I call it. Different versions of a smudge pot. You can get a hanging one and all that. That's where you put the charcoal in, you put your herbs in, and you burn it that way. Stick incense burner. It's the easiest to access, the easiest to find whatever you need. You can find incense sticks everywhere. You can find them at the mysticism shops, gas stations, like the little Heba gas stations, grocery stores sometimes, Walmart, everywhere. You won't have trouble finding it. But to me, it's a necessity. And it is a cheap necessity. I literally just started with stick incense. I think I got the stick incense holder that I got from Shein. And then I lost it. And now I have 2 more. And I still don't know where the original one I got is. But nonetheless. Next is your cauldron. Now, let me start with the basics of it. It is iron, 3 legs with an opening smaller than the largest part of the body of the pot. It can be used for scrying. It's a water element. It can also be used for burning. That is typically what I use mine for. And I learned this from my sister. A cauldron is an interesting piece. It is steeped in tradition and mystery. Not everyone fully understands it. The cauldron's a container in which magical transformations occur. The Sacred Grail, the Holy Spring, the Sea of Primeval Creation, etc., etc. All of these stories, at some point, there's a cauldron. And not everyone understands it. I'm not going to go over whether it represents the god or the goddess when it comes to any of this. I've never focused on that myself. But it is symbolic of the element of water, reincarnation, immortality, and inspiration. Celtic legends concerning Caradwyn's cauldron, and I know I butchered that, have had strong impact on contemporary Wicca. Typically, the cauldron is the focal point of any ritual. And, like I said, typically when they do spring rites, it's filled with water. Winter rites, it's fire. I typically use it for fire. But, I mean, for me, that's probably an astrology thing. I use it for fire. I use it for consecrating anything, because I do not have access to an outdoor fireplace or anything like that where I can privately take care of that. And I prefer to use smoke to consecrate things. Because it's not safe for me to leave things outside, to do it by the moon. And I don't feel like waiting forever to consecrate something in salt. So smoke is the best bet. Now, I really would love to go through it more on the cauldron. But cauldrons are hard to find. A cauldron for me, it was not a have to have, but I really wanted it. You can find cauldrons online at Amazon, at Earth Gifts, at occasionally they will have them at Midnight Sun. It's where I got mine. I actually got it cheaper than I could have got it at Earth Gifts. But and when I said that the cauldron was used for scrying, basically what they do is they fill it with water and they stare into the inky depths. And it's almost like scrying into like a black obsidian mirror type thing, where you're staring at the black water because you've got that pot that's black, the water on top, and it's reflective, and it's all about what you see. I have not tried that yet. I need to. And it's also been infamously used for brews, witches' brews, things like that. But today, any pot will do. You can do it on the stove. You don't got to do it in a cauldron on the fire. That was just what was used at that time. And then you have your Athame, your magical knife. Okay. When it comes to the knife, I have never truly fully agreed with what this book says, except for one aspect. Your Athame, or whatever knife is your magical knife, which it does not have to be sharp. It can be dull. It can be a decorative knife. It does not matter. It can be a switchblade, whatever. It does not matter what knife is your Athame. What matters is you do not use your magic knife for non-magical purposes. The knife is used for rituals, for calling quarters, things like that, depending on what the occasion is. You don't use the knife you're going to cut your dinner with for your magic. Your magic knife should, in my opinion, stay on your altar until you're going to use it for magical purposes, or in your chest that you keep your items in, your magical items. Because I don't know, it's one of those things where, no, it's not going to hurt the knife, but it's like a cross-contamination thing. You just don't want to get it mixed up. Now, a crystal spear, not necessary. Technically in ancient times, it was quartz. A real quartz spear is cold to the touch. It is used for divination and scrying, and typically to charge it, you use moonlight and fresh mugwort. I do not have a crystal sphere. I would like to at some point, but I don't. And it's not necessary. It depends on what you want to do. If you don't want to get into scrying, don't worry about it. If you just want to do spell work, candle work, and that's it, that's fine. Next is the cup. The cup is a water elemental. It's for ritual beverages. It is for, say, offerings of wine on your altar, things like that. Typically it'd be some sort of a wine glass or a goblet. Mine is literally a metal goblet that we found at like a Pilot gas station. And I love it. It sits on my altar. Have I ever actually used it? No. It's not necessary. It just depends on what kind of work you're doing. And it's good to have on your altar, honestly. And then you have your pentacle. Typically that would be brass, gold, silver, wood, wax, clay. You can make your own if you wanted to. It's going to be a pentagram. It is ceremonial. It is for protection. It is for summoning and invoking spirits as well, and it is an earth element. I have not yet been blessed with a pentacle. I don't know why I haven't gotten one myself. Something in me just tells me that at some point it is going to be given to me and I don't need to go after it myself. And that when the time is right, it's going to come to me. I don't know why. But it is what it is. Next is your Book of Shadows. Everyone's Book of Shadows looks different. It does not have to be the gorgeous, but slightly impractical, leather-bound, grimoire, big leather book type thing. If you want that, you can find those at Earth Gifts. You can find them online as well. But it could be something as simple as files on your computer, a thumb drive. It can be a binder that you literally either write in or you print out pages, hole punch, and stick them in there, or put them in page protectors and put them in there. It could be anything you want. A journal, whatever. Your Book of Shadows is not necessarily a secret thing. Think of your Book of Shadows as a reference guide. My Book of Shadows is a reference guide for me. I had been told before that a Book of Shadows is some secret thing. I don't see why it has to be. I don't see why it is. A Book of Shadows, if it's personal spells, you can put it in a separate book. You can put it in a separated portion in the back of your binder. That's fine. But if it's a personal spell, no one's going to actually know what it's for or what it does unless you tell them or you write down exactly what it does. But like I said, mine is literally a reference guide. It's herbology, runes, stones, spell work with mythology, astrology, everything down the line. Down to literally when I hand wrote bits and pieces and notes from the tools section of the book we're working in. Book of Shadows is a must, but it's not expensive at all. I would advise a physical book of some form, personally, just because it'll take up a lot of space in your phone and your computer. But it's not difficult to get. It's not a difficult thing to have. Other basic tools would be storage, of course. would be your herbs and your candles. Candles, alright, candles can be as simple as birthday candles. You can have birthday candles, chime candles, candles from Dollar Tree. It can be tea light candles. It can be votives. It doesn't matter. As long as it works for you. If you're, personally, my opinion, if you are going to roll the candle in herbs, I would use a chime candle. You can get them at Earth Gifts. It's not expensive. But even if you're just using a votive candle, roll that in herbs, it'll work just the same. Or a tea light candle. Sprinkle a little bit of the herbs on the candle, and that should work just the same. Everyone has a personal preference on how they do things and what they do. I'm going to use a wonderful analogy that my friend Sim uses. Witchcraft is like chili. I make mine with meat and beans. Someone might use chicken. Someone might just do a vegan chili. Everyone's chili is different. Doesn't mean it isn't good. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. Other tools that you may need. Jars. Jars and possibly bottles, depending on what you're doing. But jars you will need. And I have a problem. I have a jar problem. I have way too many jars. I will openly admit to it. And anyone who knows me knows I have way too many jars and way too many bottles. Even Kelly can vouch for that. But the jars are good for spell work and storing your herbs and things like that. And they don't have to be fancy. It can be jelly jars. It can be peanut butter jars. It can be jars from the Dollar Tree, mason jars, whatever. Whatever works for you. Now, when it comes to herbs, I would start with small jars. Small jelly jars or the small jars from the Dollar Tree. If you're using the jar for spell work, I personally would do glass over plastic. I don't know why. It just feels right. At least to me it does. So that's my personal preference. Again, yours can be different than mine, and that's okay. It's whatever works for you. Now, next week, we are going to be doing grounding. Next week, I am going to be sharing a video of a grounding meditation that comes out of the book Spiral Dance. It is a wonderful book. Let me rephrase. The rituals and practices are good. The woman who wrote the book and some of her side chat is insane. But her exercises are good. And we are going to be using her exercise. And if I can get the video to cooperate, then my friend Sim is going to be the one doing the grounding exercises. It is going to be pre-recorded, so nothing to worry about. But I'm going to post that, and if I remember, if I have the time, I will possibly also do a video myself of the calendar of the year. The witches' holidays and things like that, and the wheel of the year and everything. I just have to remember to do it, and if it is not done next week, it will be done the week after, as well as whatever we are working on that week specifically. So everyone have a good day. Introduce yourselves and get to know each other. I do plan on one Saturday, hopefully this Saturday afternoon, I'm going to try to do a video chat in our chat so everybody can get to know each other. Because I am hoping that sometime during the summer, if I get past this basic stuff and we start getting to things like spell work and stuff like that, I'm hoping we can do some field trips. Or work together on video doing spell work and making jars, like spell jars and things like that. And I very much look forward to it. But everyone have a great day. And if you have any questions, please leave it in the chat. I will happily answer any questions you have. And the book that we're working in, you will more likely be able to find at Chamberlain's. And if not there, you can find it at Books A Million or at Earth Gifts more likely, or even online. And it's not that expensive because it's bare bottom basics. For me, it's a go-to, and I feel like everyone needs it. Just to have a good reference guide, if nothing else, outside of your own Book of Shadows. It's if you need to double check something, it's the book you go to. It's the one I go to. But I think this is the third time I've said this. Have a good day. If you have questions, leave it in the chat. And I will see you next Wednesday.